I want you to keep the exchange rate stable.
Yeah.
And you
At
have
all
a
costs.
CBN at all costs.
Defender of the naira.
You have a CBN that is struggling to deal with that. I mean, you know the struggle we went through to get even the I&E window to come into
Yeah, I
being.
do remember that. It was months and months of back and forth. Then
And
one
it was
day
at
we.
a time where we had a major liquidity crisis in
Yeah.
the foreign exchange market, where rates were going to around 500. Some people are even predicting it will go to 1,000.
Zil, I remember that time. You just
And
see
yet-
somebody just say in the WhatsApp group, "I have $5,000. I'm
Yes.
selling for $450."
People were hawking FX.
People were sending money. Look, I even heard at some point that people were borrowing money, taking unsecured loans in the US to send home so that it could be changed
to naira.
Yes, and do projects very quickly. You know, like roof the house, you know, buy the land.
It was
I mean,
a whole
yeah.
lot of confusion. It was the pressure and the crisis of that time
Yeah.
that led to the creation of this I&E window, which was a market window, which brought a lot of relief to the market. You know, so that is one issue. Now, secondly, I think we should be worrying more about, even if you have these multiple windows, if you don't have too huge a premium,
Yeah.
perhaps you can live with that.
I think so.
Then the pressure of, you know, these arbitrage issues
Would be removed completely.
removed. But again, fundamentally, if you are saying that you want to be self-reliant, you want people to look inwards, and you are busy throwing your reserves
Which is the mantra, by the way.
to strengthen the currency again,
Which is
it's
the
a
mantra, by the way.
contradiction.
Zil, I want to come to you. Now, we are paying a premium on many things. So first of all, the border closure recently, and I was looking at it recently, the border closure, and we were talking about gains in PMS in Nigeria, that the evacuation from depots in Lagos is not as huge as it used to be since the border closure.
Is that
And
a
of-
fun, Tunji? We are paying premium on premium motor spirits.
So the guys are trying to, draw correlations with it, but we also know that our PMS is gotten at, will I say premium, with small, premium to that. We're paying for that, and we're selling premium motor spirit in Nigeria at lower prices than the rest of West Africa. So we're giving some people massive incentives to want to, take it outside. So we're wasting FX there. Two, we're trying to bring people to bring FX into the country. You get, and we're giving them all sorts of beautiful rates, giving them, some sort of spreads to attract them. At the end of the day, we're paying another premium there. And then the question I am asking at the end of the day, and there's always this $210, $10 million, the CBN, I don't want to use the word pump, but puts into the market to make liquidity available in the foreign exchange market. All of this come at a cost, Seal. Who is paying for it, and who is looking at the pain?
Okay, so let me answer that by giving you some numbers, right? In 2014, I picked 2014 because that was the year we had the highest amount of capital inflows at almost 21 billion. Of that $21 billion that came in 2014, 50% was portfolio investment in equity. 5% was portfolio investment in money markets. 2015, when we had the crisis, inflows crashed by 50%, so we had less than just under 10 billion. Of that 10 billion that came in, 50% came in as portfolio investment for equity, and 5% came in as money market instruments. Then CBN introduced a lot of incentives to generate capital flows.
Yeah, more.
So what happened? We crashed to 5 billion capital importation in 2016. 2017, we picked up to 12 billion. But when we picked up to 12 billion, portfolio investments for money markets was 25% and equity 25%. Now, where it gets interesting is 2018. We got 17 billion came in 2017, of which equity was about 21%.
So what were these
Hang on.
incentives?
And portfolio investments for money market was 50%. 2018, we got 12 billion, of which 70% was money market.
Wow.
So you see that whatever policy the CBN has introduced to generate the cash flow, have we generated it? Yes, but we've generated it along a line that is a pure cost line to the government. There is no when people come in to buy equities as portfolio investors, share price moves, there's volatility there, but people make and lose money from that.
Yeah.
The companies themselves do not necessarily make and lose money, but investors do. The market does, the society does. But when portfolio investors bring 70-80% of their money into money markets, government pays them interest, and that's it. That's all that happens. It's a cost line. So you've therefore given, and I calculated this in my estimate, what we've spent 2017 till now to attract foreign investment, in my opinion, is at least 6 trillion naira. And this is when you calculate the cost of the OMO issuances and the cost of the future settlement.
You know, the problem with that is that
guys, OMO being
open market option.
Always important.
Open market operations, it's a government borrowing using treasury bill, but unlike other government borrowings that are regulated and controlled by the Debt Management Office, DMO, this is at the sole prerogative of the CBN.
Now, the problem with this is most of this, the money markets investments, for instance, they're not long term.
I kept saying portfolio.
So City of Lagos, let me quickly explain it for people who might not understand this. There's a difference between FPI, which is foreign portfolio investments, which Zeal is talking about, and FDI, which is foreign direct investment. So when I don't know, maybe an MTN, for instance, comes into Nigeria and they build stations, they build offices, that is foreign direct investment because it is investment for the long term. There's fiscal assets on ground. But foreign portfolio investment, like Zeal's just spoken about, which estimates are saying that we probably spend about 6 trillion naira in attracting, is money that comes in, stays for maybe 12 months
max,
and goes away.
So
you've even paid profit just to bring in the money for 12 months and the money flies away.
Yeah.
So
it's all
basically,
hot money.
Yeah, so we're losing money bringing these people in. But
but there's another point to this. Generally, when some policymakers don't understand all this, they then go after some FDI people. Yeah, and yes, the point, and then say you can't take back some of your money. It is ours.
Pun intended, because yes. I see where he's going with this.
Yeah,
and then crisis starts,
which is pretty much what happened with the MTN story.
Yeah. I mean, MTN story happened with MTN. It happened with Diageo. It happened with Southern Sun. It happened quite a lot more than we know. But MTN was big. But a lot of foreign guys had those
big,
issues.
big and visible.
Big and visible.
Yes.
True.
Now the thing is,
but there are other people that are taking away what we call our money, really, which is our money.
So
and those ones are invisible. And in fact, we are paying them to take away our money. You know?
Wow.
So there's a mistake we've made a lot of times, which we continue to make as a nation, where we continue to attack symptoms at the expense of the root cause. There's a reason investments are not coming in. If you do not deal with that, so we're more or less paying people an incentive. Can you come and bring your money for some time? So there is no vested interest. They'll do it, take your money and leave. These guys come in and leave with 25 to 40% returns on their dollar. Hedged position using futures. It doesn't make any sense financially, except to attract that flow, because we need to maintain the cash flows, which we need to do. But like Rotimi said, there are certain things, if we spend that 6 trillion, and dear Lagos, there is no year in my existence that Nigeria has spent 6 trillion on capital expenditure.
No year.
The highest we've spent on capital expenditure any year in my memory is about 2.5 trillion. But we're spending 6 trillion to pay foreign investors to bring their money for some time, not even to invest. So what are the root issues? CBN has its purview, and it's a very limited purview. CBN deals with monetary policy. We have issues around the fiscal policy. Nobody talks about that. And I mean, as much as I want to hammer on CBN, but CBN is one part of the game. What are we doing on fiscal policy? Why do we have things like duties so high on things we are not manufacturing? Why are we giving incentives to people consuming fuel and not giving incentives to people producing? Why do we have import duties for finished goods that are lower than the import duties for the raw materials to manufacture them? Those are the fiscal policies we need to be looking at. And
Mr. Mudai, you are closer to the manufacturer, the business community, especially with Lagos, and you see their groanings a lot of the time. Now, from this discussion we're having, we've established that we seem to prefer people who bring in portfolio. We treat them right. We take care of them.
sharp, sharp. It's fast.
We take
You
care
can
of them.
show quick.
We
No,
give them
not
incentives.
called quick wins.
Yeah.
You can do something, and in 2-3 months you see
the results.
You see
Yeah.
a fleeting result.
Because even the portfolio investments investors, all you have to do is just move your rates a bit. Because City of Lagos, you might not notice this. Every time rates move in the US, maybe the Fed cuts by 0.5%, we all know there's going to be a movement somewhere. So it looks like we take care of these guys. But then the people on the ground doing the hard work, rolling their sleeves up, getting dirty day in, day out, facing the lack of power infrastructure, road infrastructure. They are getting multiple tariffs at the seaport. I mean, they're basically
plus serious overhead costs.
They're basically sweating blood.
That can sink many businesses.
I think it's a question of not getting our priorities right as far as the